We talked a little bit early on in the first week about the lack of transaction support within MongoDB. And from the relational world, a lot of you know that transactions offer atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. But although we don't have transactions within MongoDB, we do have atomic operations. So, what does that mean? Well, atomic operations mean that when you work on a single document, that work will be completed before anyone else sees the document. They'll either see all the changes that you make or none of them. And using atomic operations, you can often accomplish the same thing you would have accomplished using transactions in a relational database. And the reason is that in a relational database, you need to make changes across multiple tables, usually tables that need to be joined, and so you want to do that all at once. And to do it, since there are multiple tables, you'll have to begin a transaction and do all those updates, and then end the transaction. But with MongoDB, since you're going to embed the data, since you're going to pre-join it in documents, and these rich documents that have hierarchy, you often can accomplish the same thing. For instance, in the blog example, if you wanted to make sure that you updated a blog post atomically, you can do that because you can update the entire blog post at once. Whereas if it was a bunch of relational tables, you'd probably have to open a transaction so that you can update the post collection and the comments collection. So what are your approaches that you can take in MongoDB to overcome the lack of transactions? And the answer is there are really three different approaches, and I want to go over them real quickly. The first is that you can restructure your code so that you're working within a single document and taking advantage of the atomic operations that we offer within that document. And if you do that, then usually you're all set, and you won't miss the transactions at all. The second thing you can do, if you'd like, is you can essentially implement some sort of locking in software. You can do this by creating a critical section. You can essentially build a test and set using find and modify. You can build semaphores if you want to. And in a way, this is sort of the way the larger world works anyway. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if one bank needs to transfer money to another bank, they're not living in the same relational system, and they each have their own relational databases often, and they have to be able to coordinate that operation, even though you can't begin transaction and end transaction across those database systems, only within one system, within one bank. So there's certainly ways in software to get around the problem. And the final approach, which often works in modern web applications and other applications that take in a tremendous amount of data, is to just tolerate a little bit of inconsistency. I mean, so an example would be, if you're talking about a friend feed in Facebook, it doesn't matter if everybody sees your wall update simultaneously. It's okay if one person's a few beats behind for a few seconds and then they catch up, right? It often isn't critical in a lot of system designs that everything be kept perfectly consistent and everyone get a perfectly consistent and the same view of the database. So you could simply tolerate a little bit of inconsistency that's somewhat temporary. So those are the three approaches. You can restructure to make sure that everything happens within a single document so that you get the advantages of atomic operations. You can implement whatever you're looking for in software, or you can tolerate a little bit of inconsistency that you might get without transactions. All right, so let's do a quiz. So here's the quiz. Which of the following operations operate atomically within a single document in MongoDB? Check all that apply. And the choices are the update command, the find and modify command, the add to set command within an update, or the push, again, within an update. And if you remember, add to set adds something to an array list. If it's not there, push pushes at the end of the list.